the worst feelings in the world is abandonment. And it's what they mocked the Prophet ﷺ early on with and hurt him so deeply until assurance came down from Allah Himself. مَا وَدَّعَكَ رَبُّكَ وَمَا قَلَى. Your Lord has not forsaken you. But we don't receive divine assurance through direct revelation like the Prophet ﷺ. But we do in the sense that Allah could have just sent that message through Jibreel without making it a part of the Quran. But when Allah records divine assurance for any of the prophets before, He's doing that for you now as well. But when the pain feels pointless and you can't trace the pattern, your first instinct may be to just ask Allah, why? And as much as Allah has buried His wisdom of His divine decree in a plan that you can't see, nothing of your pain is invisible to Him, no matter how deep you bury it within your chest. إِن تُخْفُوا مَا فِي صُدُورِكُمْ أَوْ تُبْدُوهُ يَعْلَمْهُ اللَّهُ. Whether you bury it deep in your chest or bring it to your lips, Allah already knows it. Only He knows the secrets of His plan and the secrets of your heart at the same time. And remember the advice of Yaqub to Yusuf, the father to the son, right before he bids him farewell for the decades of distance after a beautiful dream. It's not like when you take your child to an airport or send them off to school, but before he was ripped away from him in a dirty plot that would unfold in the most unimaginable of places. Yaqub didn't hand Yusuf a map to get home. He handed him the names of Allah. Inna rabbaka alimun hakim. Surely your Lord is all-knowing, all-wise. If you internalize this one single ayah, you'll know how to interpret everything in life that you can't interpret. And Yaqub alayhi salam would have his own test internalizing this. Because while Yusuf was surrounded by strangers, Yaqub was surrounded by family from whom he was estranged. And both he and Yusuf would have to wait to see what this plan was ultimately going to reveal. El-Alim, the all-knowing, is He who knows it's going to happen before it does. El-Hâkim, the all-wise, is He who allows it to happen anyway, but for a greater purpose. El-Alim knows what you're going through when no one else does. El-Hâkim knows the purpose of your going through it, even when you don't. El-Alim knows all the whats. El-Hâkim knows all the whys. And that's why these names are almost always paired together, and why they held Yusuf together during this impossible journey. Another implication of these two names is that He knows all of the alternative histories in your life. He knows what was, what is, what will be, and exactly how it would have been otherwise. So He knows all of the near infinite possibilities of what your story could have been. But this is exactly how your story should play out. There's a greater weaving that you don't see yet. And you don't know what chapter you're in, because you're neither the writer nor the reader. You're the book being authored. And you can't let the intensity of the experience of the difficulties in that plan cloud your trust of His knowledge and wisdom behind that plan. So Yaqub had to hold on to these names himself when his kids called him a crazy old man because he was still holding on to hope after all these years. And he responds and says, أَعْلَمُ مِنَ اللَّهِ مَا لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. I know from Allah what you don't know. What is he talking about? Did he know the plan? Or did he mean he remembered the dream that Yusuf shared with him? That's one interpretation. But some of the scholars of tafsir say that he meant by that, I know of Allah what you don't know. My relationship with my Lord is different. I know Him to be Al-Alim, Al-Hakim, all-knowing and all-wise. Yusuf alayhi salam then had to hold on to those names throughout the years of degradation and torment. From the darkness of the well to the prison cell. Those two names sat in his chest like lamps. Al-Alim, Al-Hakim. I don't know why this is happening to me, but He does, and I know it's better for me. So how do I worship Allah now in this situation in a way that He'll be pleased? And when the story curved back and he stood as the leader of Egypt, reunited with his family, he didn't stop at Alhamdulillah in the generic sense. He reached for a name that sometimes you can only really taste after surviving the storm. El-Latîf, the ever subtle, gentle and kind. Inna Rabbi latifun lima yasha. Innahu huwa al-alimul hakim. My Lord is subtle in what He wills. Indeed, he is the all-knowing, the all-wise. Notice the order. His father taught him el-Alim and el-Hâkim to carry him through it all. But his life experiences unveiled for him el-Latîf. Because you can't perceive lutf, his subtle presence and gentle delivery of his decree, until you've surrounded yourself to his all-encompassing knowledge and wisdom. How can I trust el-Latîf with the details if I question el-Alim, el-Hâkim on the master plan? أَلَا يَعْلَمُ مَنْ خَلَقَ وَهُوَ اللَّطِيفُ الْخَبِيرُ. Does he who created everything not know what he created? That's the grand plan. And he is el-Latîf el-Khabir, the ever subtle yet ever aware. Those are the small details. El-Latîf is such a beautiful and profound name that many people will say is their favorite name of Allah. It means the subtle and the gentle and the kind, all at the same time. Then what's the difference between el-Latîf and el-Rafiq, or el-Latîf and el-Muhsin? Since sometimes you'll just see el-Latîf translated as the kind. The scholars explain that el-Latîf هو الذي يوصل الرفق والإحسان بسبل خفية. El-Latîf is the one who delivers his rifq, his gentleness, and his ihsan, his kindness, but through hidden paths. Imam al-Ghazali rahimahullah explained that lutf has two strands. Ilm al-daqa'iq, the hidden details that only he knows, and then إيصال المنافع الخفية, the hidden ways to deliver those benefits that only he knows. El-Latîf will put a glass of water or a piece of paper or a sudden thought in your mind or someone else's, or a sudden sense of calm, gently and unnoticeable, but it ends up being a game changer in the moment. And that's why you often only recognize lutf in hindsight, because you remember those little signposts and mercies along the way that you couldn't really recognize in the intensity of the qabd, that seizure of test and trial. But just like Allah is the only one who knows what happened and could have happened and knows the wisdom behind it, He's also the only one who can actually see what's happening in front of you right now. Because if your foresight or hindsight are 20/20, Allah always sees infinite. Allah even plants His lutf for you in nature so that you can hold it in your palm. أَلَمْ تَرَ أَنَّ اللَّهَ أَنزَلَ مِنَ السَّمَاءِ مَاءً فَتُصْبِحُ الْأَرْضُ مُخْضَرَّةً إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَطِيفٌ خَبِيرٌ. Do you not see that Allah sends down rain from the sky and then the earth becomes green? Surely Allah is most subtle, all aware. You didn't perceive any of the photosynthesis. You just woke up and the field was green. That's lutf, work so gentle and hidden that you only notice it when the blessing is already in your hands. So when do you know that His lutf worked? After you see it come together. But when should you trust al-Latîf? During the trial, when you can say, I know that He knows, and I know that He knows why. That's enough. I trust the planner enough to not need to know the plan or the details of how he's going to execute that plan. Now look again at Yusuf's timeline through that lens. He could have focused on his brother's cruelty in throwing him into the well and said, if El-Alim, the all-knowing, knew that this was going to happen, why didn't he stop it? But instead, he focused on El-Latîf, sending him the stranger's hand to lift him up from the well. He could have stared at the prison wall and despaired and said, why would el-Hâkim, the all-wise, allow this to happen to me and put me in this rotten hole? Instead, he noticed el-Latîf, sending him the two cellmates with the dreams for him to interpret. So in your own life, when you're in a Yusuf-like season and the night is heavy, you have a choice in what to anchor yourself in. Either you stare at the hardship and interrogate His knowledge and wisdom, or you start searching for the small mercies that keep meeting you by surprise. The friend who suddenly texted you, are you okay? The person who you saw who was in a worse circumstance than you. The ayah that you stumbled upon that felt like it was revealed to you in that moment. هَذَا مِن لُطْفِ اللَّهِ. These are His drops of subtle kindness to let you know that He's the one who's in control of the storm. But here's the thing. Allah doesn't just know all the little pathways in your decree. He also knows all the little secrets in your heart. So He pairs His name with el-Khabir, the all-aware. El-Latîf, el-Khabir. El-Khabir is the one who knows the inside and the outside, the cause and the consequence of everything. You don't question the details of el-Latîf's recorded plan because you can't access His wisdom. but you do question the details of yourself because you know that el-Hâbir has access to your otherwise unrecorded thoughts and feelings. Even the angels can only record your deeds, but el-Hâbir is the one who records your hidden intentions. You know when we say mukhabarat, intelligence services, that try to monitor every little detail of people's lives, usually without mercy? Allah is el-Hâbir, but with mercy. So He knows you inside and then sends you signs to repent based on the intelligence He has on you. But He also has full intelligence on the one who intends you harm. Like Yusuf's brothers before they plotted. Allah already took that into account with His plan. But like all of His other names, these names are meant to shape comfort and accountability. Because the same el-Latîf who slips you a mercy that you didn't earn is the same el-Hâbir who will bring forth a deed that you thought no one would ever see. Listen to the advice of Luqman to his son, just like Yaqub once advised his son Yusuf. But this is an entirely different context. Ya bunayya, إنها إن تك مثقال حبة من خردل فتكن في صخرة أو في السماوات أو في الأرض يأتي بها الله إن الله لطيف خبير. O my dear son, even if a deed were the weight of a mustard seed, hidden in a stone or somewhere lost in the heavens and the earth, Allah will surely bring it forward. Surely Allah is Latif and Khabir. Do you feel the pairing here? Latif is in the subtlety of finding that buried seed. Khabir is in the precision of bringing it forth on the Day of Judgment. So that you should know that the smallest breath of obedience and the quietest treachery both have weight in the sight of Allah. So if it was the charity that you slid under a door, or gave so anonymously that even the recipient didn't know it was you, or the fitna that you lit behind the scenes, but no one could pin it on you, the resentment that you stoked and fed in secret, kulluha ya'ti biha Allah, He will bring forth all of it, not to humiliate the repentant, but because His justice is built on His perfect knowledge, and He promised not to wrong anyone by the measure of even an atom. So surely He knows the measure of that atom in order to judge it on the Day of Judgment. And please, let these names rescue you from a common trap, putting Allah's plan on trial with your limited intellect. Hold yourself accountable to your deeds, not Allah accountable to your understanding of His decree. The angels taught us this etiquette of knowing our limits when they said, Subhanaka, la ilma lana illa ma 'allamtana, innaka anta al-Alim al-Hâkim. Glory be to you, we have no knowledge except that which you taught us. Verily you are el-Alim el-Hâkim, all-knowing and all-wise. And the next time you say to yourself, I don't see the wisdom, answer yourself with, of course I don't see the wisdom. His wisdom comes from His knowledge which I can't encompass. It's He who is el-Alim el-Hâkim, the all-knowing and the all-wise above me. And He who delivers a subtlety around me that I can't possibly track, and an awareness that I can't possibly possess. El-Latîf, el-Khabir. Ya Alim, you know what I hide and what I show, what I've done and what I will do. Let what you know of me be better than what people know of me, and forgive me for what only you know. Teach me what benefits me, and let what you keep hidden from me always be for my good. Ya Hakim, your wisdom surrounds what I cannot understand. When I question the purpose, remind me of your perfection. Grant me the patience to trust your timing, and the insight to see the beauty unfolding in your decree. Ya Latif, work gently through the details of my life. Send kindnesses that I may not notice until I look back, but can still feel at every moment. Let your subtle care reach the corners of my heart that no words or people could ever touch. Ya Khabir, you are fully aware of what's within me, my fears, my flaws, and my hidden intentions. Purify what you see inside of me until it is pleasing to you, and let nothing inside me here contradict what will be produced when I stand before you bare.
وَلِلَّهِ الْأَسْمَاءُ الْحُسْنَى فَادْعُوهُ بِهَا